This isn't what one normally envisions when they think of a children's mental health center. Students' muscles ache with fatigue as they hold difficult yoga poses. They clear their minds of the busy city in which they live through guided meditation, all on floors lined with exercise mats, helpful for softening the fall of students as they practice jiu-jitsu grappling. This is a typical mindfulness martial arts class, also known as MMA, for students with the Integra program at the Child Development Institute, an accredited children's mental health agency. Some students are aware, but many are not. MMA was created by Integra to reach the students who won't come in for counseling.
A major coping strategy that they use, one that causes a lot of problems for them, is avoiding. So avoiding homework, avoiding school, avoiding doing the dishes, and certainly avoiding coming to talk to a counselor.
Increasingly, mindfulness practice has been introduced into educational settings. Through the Integra program's research partnerships with Ryerson, McMaster, the University of Toronto, and the studies done by Dr. Karen Milligan, there is evidence of its effectiveness. It has been shown to improve students' self-awareness, self-regulation, and executive function. One example of such a program in Ontario is Integra MMA. They think they're just practicing to be a warrior, but these students are learning to regulate their emotions too.
It's a way to go and just immediately calm and take all your energy that's been stored up. It's a good place to forget about it and work out, meditate, and do yoga.
It's really about better emotion regulation. So, noticing and managing difficult thoughts, feelings, so that we don't end up doing things that get ourselves in trouble.
With increased awareness of what your thoughts and feelings are, you become much more effective at noticing how those are affecting your behaviors.
Integra MMA instructors welcome students to the dojo, a term to describe the martial arts training place. All students in this class have learning disabilities and a concurrent mental health concern, such as anxiety, depression, or disruptive behavior.
So we get the kids who can be great martial artists when we accommodate their learning disabilities.
There have been kids who you think, wow, this kid, they can't handle anything. They can't sit in a classroom. They drive their parents crazy. You can't even talk to them. Kind of everybody gives up on them, and we don't even know if they're gonna buy into any of this. When they end up sticking around, it's really amazing. I think there's this incredible paradox. We have kids who cannot sit still, cannot focus at school, can't get themselves organized, can't make friends. Like, there's all of these barriers and limitations. And we're asking them to sit and meditate.
But despite these barriers, the students in this room are focused, in control of their emotions, and confident in their ability to overcome any challenges that come their way. On any given day, you'll witness students engaging in a mindful moment or mindful self-talk. These have proven to be dependable strategies to help students cope with stressful or uncomfortable situations.
A mindful moment is sort of like a mini meditation. It's where you let everything go of the outside world and just be with your own thoughts and your feelings. There's this kid who would bully me a lot. He would say mean things about me. One day he got particularly angsty towards me. He started going on about my mom and how my mom is missing a leg, and she would call me, you call her one leg, and I get really on my nerves. And he started saying that all the time. And I was able to use my mindful moment, just be with it, just go with the flow. I would just notice it, like, oh, he's annoying me. And then just ignore him. Just plop that somewhere where I would not notice it.
We also teach them something called mindful self-talks. We have the mindful self-talks all over our dojo. And there are things like, this will pass, everything changes, or, let it go, just do it. I'm going to fake it till I make it. Whether you feel like you didn't do as well as you'd like to do, whether you got mounted or got your back taken, let it go.
Through the Integra MMA program, they've learned about awareness and acceptance, which, over time, has helped improve their emotional regulation.
I know that I'm in control. I used to have a lot of trouble being in control, but now I'm in control 99.9% of the time. Last year, I was feeling very depressed, so I used the stuff from MMA plus the stuff my psychiatrist told me. I used my breathing. I used a couple mindful moments. I did some meditation, and it did help. It helped calm me in that moment. It wasn't a long-term thing, but it was short-term, and I needed short-term in that time.
School can be so challenging, as we know, for kids with LDs, and so we give them a way to cope with that, so they don't just have to run from it, so they can actually, oh, I'm frustrated in math class. I can notice I'm frustrated. I don't even need to change that, but I can still do math, even though I'm upset.
So the frustration, the avoidance, the self-doubt, the low confidence, those are things that really can be usefully addressed.
Students are taught terms such as fight, flight, or freeze to describe their feelings.
If I'm in flight, I run away. One of the main concepts in the program we look at is learning to notice when we're sort of in fight, flight, or freeze. When am I arguing or avoiding or getting stuck on the same ideas over and over again? So we just very systematically teach youth, notice when you're in fight, flight, or freeze. Do a mindful moment. Give yourself a mindful self-talk. And then you can do something to make the situation better.
When I was in fight, flight, or freeze, I would freak out, lose all control. I've jumped out of cars before, tried to run away, tried to commit suicide a couple times. But ever since MMA, it's gone down at a decreased rate.
They learn to become aware of their emotions, and then regardless of whether they're happy, sad, angry, or frustrated, to accept those feelings.
Be on the lookout for fight, flight, or freeze. Use your breath to help you stay anchored so you can use the skills that you've been training.
I used to be one of those people who would get into fights a lot and get suspended, and I used to procrastinate with my homework all the time, and I just used to blank out on tests all the time. I found school very hard. And sometimes they do happen, but I catch most of them before they happen now. I'm able to control when my flight, fight, and freeze, and whenever that happens, I just go into B, and I just realize I'm in fight, flight, and freeze.
While it's not your traditional form of counseling, research provides evidence to support the benefits of MMA.
We had a matched waitlist control study where they compared kids who did the program with kids who received no treatment while on a wait list. And that one found that kids who had ADHD, they improved in their focus and their ability to sort of inhibit behaviors. And kids who had anxiety, we saw that their anxiety decreased significantly. And so what was cool about that study was we found that we could put kids together who had different things going on. So kids with LDs, kids with anxiety, ADHD, depression, and they each got what they needed from the program. Depending on what you were struggling with, you had a different benefit from receiving the same program. The latest research that we've been doing is in progress. We've decided to shift from measuring, how's your anxiety, your focus, your behavior, your thinking, to now we're actually looking at biological changes. So kids are getting EEGs done to look at brain activity, and they're getting heart rate variability tests done. And the data's not officially out yet, but we're seeing some really promising things that after doing the program for 20 weeks, a year, that you're actually seeing changes occurring in the brain.
The journey to where these students are today wasn't easy. They've faced and continue to face difficulties in class every day. But by overcoming difficulties in class, these students also develop strategies to overcome difficulties in life too.
So make sure you stay facing it. That's it. Nice. Yeah. Awesome. That's what I'm talking about. They keep coming back and telling me the different ways they've applied the skill. Oh, I didn't shove my little brother this week. Or, my girlfriend broke up with me and I'm really devastated, but I'm still going to school. Or, I forgot my iPhone on the bus and I was all freaked out and I didn't know how to get home, but I was able to sort of calm down and work it out.
Whenever I have a test, I just do a mindful moment, and I just be with it, and sometimes a skillful means will come, sometimes, not all the time, and I'm okay with that.
We do our best to really make the links between, here's this martial arts technique, and, here is a way that this skill can be used in the rest of your life.
It just happens very slowly. It sort of seeps into their bones, that they start to feel more confident, more powerful, calm.
Through the Integra MMA program, students with learning disabilities develop sustainable strategies for long-term success, no matter where life takes them.
One of the things that's most important to me is helping kids to feel that they are powerful, that they can affect the world and they can affect themselves. Because a lot of times I think they feel disempowered by circumstance around them. I want them to feel free. I want them to feel like they have choices, they have options, they can deal with reality and not feel trapped.
I feel happy. I feel like I'm actually doing something now. I used to just all about be fun. If something is boring, I wouldn't like it, and now I find that I have something in my life I can be proud of.
These students, it's amazing how much effort they put into it and how they stick with something so difficult. It just blows my mind sometimes.
For more information on supporting students with learning disabilities through Integra Mindfulness Martial Arts, visit ld@school.ca. Additionally, you can contact Trish McKeough at the Integra program of the Child Development Institute directly.